Um, Hello everyone. I hope I'm audible and visible. Is it audible? Okay. Okay. I think I'm audible and visible. So, I'll start. I had some general questions also. Okay, hello everyone. I hope I'm audible and visible to you. Today I'll start with some. First, I'll start with my introduction. My name is Anusha AS, and I secured AIR 284 in UPSC Civil Services Exam 2025. Something about my background, I would say I completed my MSc in zoology. That was from University College, Trivandrum. I belong to Kerala, Thiruvananthapuram. And But my schooling I had done mostly across different states in India. That was mostly in Kendriya Vidyalayas. So this is how my academic background goes. And since I had done my MSc in zoology itself, that was my optional subject also for the civil services exam. Coming to the exam itself, this was my third attempt. In the first two attempts, I could not qualify the prelims. This was the attempt where I qualified prelims and where I reached till interview stage. Um, this was something general about myself and my background. Now, to um, tell you about general questions like how did I prepare for prelims? Since we have only less than 30 days now for the next prelims, that is of 2026. I would keep it brief, but also in a way that you guys could understand. For prelims, I would say for both prelims and mains, my preparation was more or less holistic. Like both prelims and mains, I used to prepare together. Since I was from a science background, I had studied science till 12th. Uh, it was a bit difficult for me to switch to art subject. Uh, but I loved humanities as such. But then some technical subjects like economics and some subjects of geography, they were a bit difficult for me. So I had initially joined an institute in Kerala itself. It's called Lead IAS Academy, where I had joined for the 1 year prelims cum mains foundation batch, as some of you might know. And that's how my base was built in these subjects, especially for economics. The other subjects, I felt that we can study it even by ourselves, like from NCRT. Also, we will be able to study if we have interest in it. If we go subject wise, then what are the sources I had referred, I would say. So, for polity, I had studied the 12th and 11th NCRTs. Only 12th and 11th NCRTs for polity initially, just to get a base about these two subjects. But then I soon switched to Lakshmikant, since I already had a knowledge in this area. So I switched to Lakshmikant, and these two were the areas where I covered most of my polity from. Then for economics, as I said earlier, I had attended a class because I felt like I needed it. Since I was from science background, it is a bit difficult for you when you switch to economics or when you switch to a humanity subject, especially with respect to economics. Since it's technical in nature, you need to understand the concept. So for economics, I have felt that concept understanding is more important than mugging up the subject. So economics, you cannot study it like every other humanity subject. So for economics, I had depended on the classes which were taken in my institute, and the book that I had referred for economics, it was Vivek Singh's economic book. So I felt that that book gave a very precise yet a note in the format of how a teacher would explain. So it feels like you are inside a class when you open that book and when you read that book. That's how that book was. So it was very helpful for me for economics. And for geography, I depended on 11th and 12th ncrts and my class notes. I did not go for any standard books in geography. These were the two sources that I had used for geography. Then, which subject do we have? Yes, for environment. So, for environment, since I'm coming from a science background, we always have environment, which is a supplementary subject for us. So, since I already had a base, I did not need to refer much in environment, but the areas which I had to prepare, they were national parks, biosphere reserves, and all these areas. The factual information was there a lot of information on species. But since I am coming from a zoology background, I didn't need a lot of information on species, but specific information was needed. So that I gathered from the standard books. Initially I used Shankar, but then when I was done with Shankar, I also referred to PMF. So I felt that PMF has more illustrative. So I am someone who doesn't like bit monotony in the books. So I felt that PMF is more illustrative and it's more colorful. So it doesn't help. So it helps you not get bored. So that's why I had referred it. I had not studied it wholly, just referred some of the pages whichever were important, like important legislations, important conventions, important agreements, and so all that I used to refer from PMFIAS. That's how I prepared for environment. And then we have science and technology. So for science and tech, since I already had a background in science, I didn't need to go for a basic concept of science, though I would recommend that for someone who has only read up to 10th class. So if you only have a background till 10th class of science, you might need a bit more to read up, so you can refresh your concepts once again. I think most of my friends used Lucent to refresh those, so that you could use. Otherwise, science and tech mostly they ask from current affairs, so that is something that you could prefer. For science and tech, it's mostly current affairs and concept based understanding. Then the important subject, which is history. So for history, it's initially what I felt when I went through the preparation was, for history, no matter how much you study, every time there will be a question, or there will be majority of questions which you don't know or which you haven't seen at all. So for history, I would say, if you have time, read up the entire thing if you have time. But if you don't have, don't go for that, because the returns will be very less in history as compared to the other subjects. For other subjects, at least we have a guarantee that we are reading Lakshmikant, so most I mean 100% of the questions might be from Lakshmikant. But for history, we cannot guarantee that. So if you have time, or if you are just starting your preparation, then you can start from 6th class NCRT itself. You can start, because the more number of information that we have from ancient, medieval, and art and culture, the more our knowledge base increases and our accuracy in history increases a lot. So that you could prefer. But if you don't have time, then you could just stick to 11th and 12th NCRT. And for that, I mostly preferred the new NCRT books which are available. The old NCRT is also preferable, but since I said earlier, I'm someone who likes colorful textbooks. So old NCRT for me, it's a little boring. It's very monotonous and black and white. So I usually fall asleep when I read the old NCRT. So one could go for the new NCRT, because I felt it is more interactive and colorful, and it doesn't let you fall asleep fast. So you could do that. Once you are thorough with the base of the history, maybe for reference purposes you can use old NCRT, but as and such it's not needed. I would say 11th and 12th NCRT would be enough if you don't have time at all. And then you have to supplement this with art and culture. So art and culture also, there is a book, NCRT book, you could use that. Or you could refer to toppers notes, or some compilations, some last minute compilations will be there, like for festivals, compilation might be there, just 1 or 2 pages. For Buddhism, some small notes, or you could also make your notes. Usually Nitin Singhania is preferred, but since it's a very bulky book, I would recommend you, if you get a summary of it, or if you get a PDF of uh, abridged version of it or something, or if you have time you could prepare your own notes, which does not go beyond 20 or 20 pages. So small notes you can prepare, just the important ones. So that's how you could do art and culture along with the history portion. This is for ancient and medieval. And yes, some of us also have a question that should we go for Tamil Nadu NCRT? So for Tamil Nadu NCRT, I would say it's a very good book. It's very, the language is very simple when compared to our NCRT, and it explains the topics in a very nice way, in a way that every beginner can understand. So that is how it explains. So you could go for that. And but one could always supplement it. NCRT is the main thing that you should prefer. After that, if you're done with it, then you can go for Tamil Nadu NCRT, or you can start with Tamil Nadu NCRT too. But I would say the most important book to cover for history would be NCRT. So that is ancient and medieval. Then we have modern. For modern history, I didn't study any other book other than Spectrum. Just read Spectrum thoroughly, everything. The more you can understand, or the more information you can gather from Spectrum, the much it is better. So for modern history, you can go with Spectrum. I think I have covered all the subjects of prelims. If not, just remind me if I have left out any subject. Okay, so this is how I prepared for it. Then for mains too, it's comprehensive, right? When you prepare for prelims, a huge portion of mains is also completed with it. So make sure that whenever you prepare for prelims, you are preparing it in a way that you can write it also. So whenever you are preparing, like if you are preparing for a Battle of Plassey or Battle of Buxar in modern history, if you are preparing, then make sure that you understand the concept in such a way that if a question is coming on the battles which were decisive in Indian independence, in the colonialization of India, then you should be able to write about it too. So that's how you prepare, integrating both the exams. So prelims also, for prelims you will know the facts, the dates, the people involved, and for mains you will know the reasons, the causes, the after effects. So this is how you should prepare if you are starting from the foundation. So make sure that whatever you are doing is beneficial for both the stages, not only for prelims. Because if you study only for prelims, fact based, date based, or people based, if you study, then you won't be able to write all that in mains. So you have to study in a integrated way. And that's how prelims and mains will be covered. But still, there will be topics which are only there in mains, like food processing in GS. So food processing can be there, it will be only there for GS3. And there are other topics also, like internal security, that will be only there for GS portion of the mains, not for the prelims portion, mostly not for the prelims portion. So that you could do even after prelims. But I would recommend, if you are able to, if you have time, you can do it before prelims itself. So this is how prelims and mains went. Yes, in mains we also have optional. So since I am coming from a very different optional, which is I took zoology as my optional subject. Now that was because I had already studied it for around 5 years. And so I had a confidence in my subject that I will be able to do it, even if it is something that not most of the people have chosen. So I had that confidence. And also I didn't have time to switch to another subject. Time in the sense that, whenever you select an optional subject, it is based on your interest, based on your marks, based on the guidance that you receive, and all these factors are taken into care. But then it is very important that we understand optional cannot be written like general studies paper. Okay, so even if you select an optional which is familiar, like political science and international relations, so you are already studying it in prelims. Polity, you are studying it in prelims. And if you decide that since I am interested in polity, I'll take optional as PSIR. So there is a difference in it, there is a catch in it, because you cannot write the answers of optionals PSIR the same way as you write the GS PSIR. So for optional, you will need a kind of depth to write the exam. And that is why when you select the optional, you have to choose that optional which you will be able to write about it in depth, like an expert. In zoology also that is needed, especially for science subjects. So in a way that an expert would write, or in a way someone who knows the subject would write, not superficial writing. So we cannot accept superficial writing. The thing is, if you write is in a superficial manner, then your marks will also be superficial. So that is the problem in optional. So that is why whenever you select an optional, if it is different from your graduation, you have to study it in a way that a graduate would write, or you have to write the answers in a way that a person who has done it for 3 years would write that subject. So you have to select that optional subject also. So when you keep in mind your optionals, that is how you have to study. Now something about my optional subject, because I'm coming from zoology, I had a huge syllabus to cover. Now it is one of the largest syllabus in the list of optional subjects, I would say. The thing is, the portion that we study in all these 5 years, it is restricted, it is confined to these two papers. So this is how much we have to study for zoology. And for that, I also didn't have time to complete my optional. I had completed some priority areas before prelims, some prioritized areas, some very important areas, and those areas which I have no idea about. So my syllabus was more or less similar to what I had studied in graduation and post graduation, but still there were two or three areas which I had no idea about. So I made sure that I studied those, or I had an idea about them before prelims itself, and I used to prioritize my optional. I think this is valid for any optional that you take. You have to prioritize the subjects. So for that, you will need to know the syllabus of the subject first. So when you know the syllabus of the subject, you will understand which are the areas which they want the questions to come from. Then after the syllabus, you have to look at the previous year questions, like 10 years or 5 years or 8 years, whatever you are comfortable with. You have to look at the questions. Then you have to link these two markers. So when you link the previous year question with the syllabus, you will get an idea of which topic is the favorite of UPSC examiner. So when you get the idea about it, or when you understand a lot about the techniques involved in it, you will automatically predict what is going to come in the next exam. That is going to happen. Initially, when toppers used to talk about PYQ and syllabus, I also used to feel that, is it possible to predict the exam, or is it possible to predict the question paper? But then when I did that exercise myself, I understood that it is possible. So one could do the syllabus and PYQ linkage, and you could predict it, and based on that you can decide which topic needs the highest priority, which topic is the lowest priority, and which topic you can avoid by taking a risk. So this is how I used to arrange it, and this is how I managed to complete it. I would say. But even at 8:30 on the day of my mains exam, my syllabus was not complete at all. But what I had done, why I felt comfortable when I was writing the paper, was because I had prioritized it, and I already knew which portions were going to be the high weightage portions, and those questions were repeated again. So that's how my optional preparation went. And regarding the books which I have used for zoology optional, was the same books that I had used for my post graduation and my undergraduation, the same notes, and also the notes of Kajal Javla ma'am, who was a topper in previous years, and Anurag Mishra sir's notes were available. So these notes, they have already prepared very good notes about these some of the subjects, and that helps us save time. So make use of the notes which are already there. And one mistake I would say was to not write enough exams before attempting my optional. I only wrote one exam, and I was very scared in that one exam itself, because I had not completed my paper and four questions were remaining. I had only done 15 or 14 questions, and it was a very bad paper that I had written. That was just 1 week before my exam. So I would not recommend that. I would say that if you can, then prepare for answer writing as well, since it's not the same answer writing that we do in college. We need an introduction, we need a body, and we need a conclusion. And also, since zoology involves a lot of diagrams, you need a lot of diagram practice. You need to be able to draw the diagrams in a very fast manner, and otherwise it will take up all your time. And also correspondingly, you will need to write the said content also related to it. So if your answer just has diagram and no content, then is also a minus, then it is also a minus. And if it has a lot of content and no diagrams, then it is also another minus. So try to keep a balance between both of them. And books, would I would say, refer to the minimum books. Make your own notes if possible, apart from the topper's notes. The other subjects, there are many areas which the topper notes doesn't cover, so you could make the notes in that. And whatever notes you have made, just keep on revising that and just reproduce that in exams, so that would be sufficient. I would also recommend only those people to take zoology optional who already have a background of the subject, because it would be easier for you, and you will also not find it very tiring as such. And if you have a biology background or interest in the subject, then also you can take it, but be very cautious about it. You will have to spend a lot of time, and it's very strenuous too. So for someone who has the background, it would be much easier than people who do not have that background. So that was about my optional preparation. um, Now, regarding, okay, for NCRT, I would not suggest to make notes again from the NCRT, because NCRT itself has very comprehensively explained a lot of facts. So don't make notes again from the NCRT. Just try. What I used to do was to underline mainly, but don't underline every other line. Then you will be underlining all the whole pages of the textbook. So don't do that. Just underline important areas which in the second revision you will be able to revisit properly. So you underline it that in a way that you are able to revisit it in the second round of revision or third round of revision. Don't underline the whole they have them are all that, not needed. Just underline, like for example, um, if there is a person involved in it, and if there is like dancing girl of Mohenjo-daro, then you could just underline dancing girl and where it was discovered, Mohenjo-daro. That would be enough. There is no need to make another notes from the NCRT. But when you prepare for prelims, what you could do is to make the notes of those areas which you are always making an error on. Okay, so if, as we discovered, as we said earlier, dancing girl, Mohenjo-daro, you can say. But if you are confusing it with any other place, then you can make a note in a separate textbook. or separate notebook as such, that dancing girl is from Mohenjo-daro. So make notes of the errors that you are making. Don't make notes of everything. So for notes, I would say that. And okay. One question that we got is completing syllabus in 12 months. So for me, as I told earlier, I had not completed my optional subject till I was entering the exam hall. So it's not about completion; it's about prioritizing the areas. So you have to prioritize the areas, and you have to make sure that the high rewarding areas and the areas which are repetitively asked, they are complete, and you know how to write answer in them. That should be at least completed before prelims, so that will be able to give you more returns than going for whole completion. So and also you have to know the areas to avoid, and that is why I told that you should be able to know the syllabus very well. Like if I take the example of zoology, then people who studied zoology might know that in biochemistry, the usual way, the usually what we study in college, uh, we have to study a lot of things, and we refer all this Leninger and every standard books. We are referring all the standard books. So when you come to the optional syllabus, we understand that it's mostly restricted to glycolysis and Krebs cycle and some biomolecules, etc. So it's a very compressed syllabus when compared to the syllabus that we had in our college. So syllabus helps you to eliminate a lot of areas. Okay, so it makes your job easier, and PYQ also helps in that. Now, the importance of PYQ, I would say, the importance is very huge, both in prelims and mains. In prelims, it is especially of a very high importance, the previous year question. First, I will talk about prelims. How is it important for prelims? So, in prelims, we know that we give a lot of exams, so a lot of exams are being given by us. May it be related to the institute exams, mock exams, and all these exams we are doing it. And our marks will vary. So sometimes we will get 50 marks, sometimes we will get 60 marks, sometimes 70, sometimes 100. And when you compare that to the reality in UPSC prelims exams, your marks will be drastically different. So why that happens is because UPSC has a particular style of asking questions, of creating the questions, and institutes, they have another style of asking the questions. So why we do PYQs is one, to understand the style of the questions. So it will help us to understand how UPSC is framing the questions. What so See, what usually happens is whenever we read a book, for example, we are reading NCRT. We will, when we read it a lot of times, we will automatically know what is there in the next chapter or how the next chapter will be arranged. So in NCRT, usually, how does it start? It starts with a lot of questions. Did you know what happened in Harappa? Did you know 10,000 years back what happened? So we automatically know that in the next chapter also, a similar kind of question is going to be asked. In UPSC prelims also, a similar kind of way is followed. That is, there also you will have the same type of questions like which of the following statements are true, and even in those statements, the way the statements are being framed is also different. So if they are giving an agreement, so this agreement was given by these two organizations, and you will see the same pattern of questions in consecutive exams. So in the previous year also, they might have asked similar questions, or something related to environment, which of the above species are so and so. You will have similar kind of questions even in the previous questions. So when you do previous year questions, especially in prelims, you will get to understand the way the examiner is framing those questions. So when you do a lot of previous year questions, or when you spend all your time doing previous year questions, uh, what happens is you will be able to know that what is the examiner's intent, or what might be the answer according to this. So that is one thing you will get from previous year questions. The second thing that you will get from previous year questions is the areas which are important. Okay, so if you are doing previous year questions regularly, then you will know that from polity, parliament is a topic which is always asked. One or two questions from the parliament is there. Okay, so you will know that parliament I have to do anyway. I cannot avoid that chapter. Then if you go for economics, then you will know that monetary policy is something which is a very important topic. So we will know that this topic I cannot avoid. Then some out of the box questions like some lake is shrinking or some species is in news, that might also be asked in environment or in geography area questions. So when you read current affairs, you will be able to understand that these type of questions are important, these type of questions the examiner will ask. So this is how you will know that which are the areas which are important. Okay, so these areas you will know. And the third thing is that you get from solving is repetitive questions. Okay, there are a lot of questions which UPSC loves to repeat every time. So one of my favorite questions, which every time, most of the way it repeats, is constitutional government. Okay, what does it mean by having a constitution and government? So this they can frame it in different ways in many years. So every time the answer would be about limiting the powers. Okay, so limited government. So there was a question on limited government. So that is how, and in the next year, I think the option was changed to limiting the powers of the government. So wherever, so if you are a person who has done previous year questions, then you will automatically go to the option which is limiting the powers. Okay, but if you have not done the previous year questions, then what will happen? You will read all those options and then you will get confused with those options. But for someone who has done previous year questions, you will automatically go to that answer and you will not waste more much time on it, and it will also guarantee you accuracy in it. So these are the three things that you will get from solving these previous year questions. Similarly, for mains too, you will understand a lot of, as I said earlier, prioritization of topics, which topics are most frequently asked, and even if the questions are asked from that topic, how are they asking that question? Okay, so you will know how they ask that question. Like if it is a international relations question or international relations related subject, so you will know that sometimes they will ask India and big powers. So big powers in the sense India and Russia relations they are asking. So if they have asked India and Russia relations in news, they it was in news, then if next year India and US is in news, they will ask from India and US in news. So you can prepare accordingly. So for mains, you can predict most of the questions in mains through previous year question analysis. So this is the important of previous year question analysis. So yes, so some of the questions I'll be taking in between. um, Yes. Now, consistency in studying. Now, this is also a problem that I too faced because I had given 3 years for this exam. And I would say that if I had not qualified for this attempt, then I might have gone for research or for PhD. That was my backup plan. So, yes, coming about backup plan, I'll say about backup plan first. So, it is important that you have a backup plan initially. When you're giving your first attempt or second attempt, you can dedicate completely for this exam. Okay, so only give your first attempt when you have completed most of the portions, like when you have completed for prelims and mains and optional, then only give that attempt. So by that you can increase your chances of clearing in that attempt itself, because trust me, the journey of more than two attempts, it's not very easy. It's very hard to stay in that cycle, and you will require a lot of willpower and support system too if you are staying. So if you are going for more than three attempts, then it's always better to have a backup plan. because then this exam is a lot of carries a lot of uncertainty with it. And you might also know the toppers from previous years, with more than 5 attempts or 4 attempts, etc. They always had a backup plan. So the importance of a backup plan is that whenever you have a backup plan, it gives you a confidence, right? So if you are going into the exam hall, and if you are feeling nervous about this exam, like, will I clear prelims, will I clear mains, what will happen? So if you are feeling nervous, then a person who has a backup plan will be less nervous than a person who doesn't have a backup plan. So the your tension increases with respect to that. And it is always good to give chances to other plans too. Sometimes we never know what we are made for. So it's very important to have a plan B. Now for consistency, I would say, my study hours were usually 8 hours. Yes, completely I used to study for only 8 hours. The rest 2 3 hours were spent in, playful kind of studying, not completely focused but still studying, maybe solving questions or maybe revising or something. But completely I might study for 7 to 8 hours only in a day. And I used to make sure that I am able to put in those 7 hours every day, or 7 to 8 hours every day. I'm able to put in, so I used to make sure that. But truth be told, I was also very lazy in putting in these 7 to 8 hours. So many a times I used to go about 2 to 3 days not studying anything, and then the next day you will be guilty, and then you will get nervous. So the important part to realize is that uh, the more you delay, the more nervous you will be, the more guilty you will feel, and it will be very hard to get back. So for consistency, what you could do is study every day. You could spend some time on studying. Okay, if you are spending 7 hours today, then make it at least 5 hours tomorrow, then 2 hours, then 1 hour. At least you study for that amount of time. So what it does is that it will keep you in that cycle. So if you leave a complete day without studying, then you will break from that cycle and it will be very hard to get back. But if you are at least studying for 1 to 2 hours or 2 to 3 hours, then what will happen is that it will help you to regain that momentum easily. So consistency is important. The varying intensity of consistency matters a lot. So make it sure that you study consistently for the next 30 less than 30 days that we have. So give it your all for the next prelims. At least bring that consistency in the next few days. It's not too late yet for prelims. You could put these hours. You could motivate yourself in between, saying that it's just for 20 days or just for 25 days. After that you will get to sleep, or you will get to rest at least some a bit. You'll get to rest. So you could motivate that. Now about motivation. Motivation is very interesting topic, because I've always felt that it is a very transient phenomena. It lasts for only few seconds or few hours as such. So for example, if I motivate you today, then tomorrow you might not, the degree of motivation falls. Then the day after tomorrow some more it will fall. Then after that it will keep on decreasing. Motivation keeps on decreasing every day. So it's very important to keep yourself motivated. But more than motivation, I think what can help you is a timetable. Now when you have a timetable, that is, you should have a timetable for, if you're planning for prelims, the coming prelims, then you should have a timetable for the next 20 to 25 days. You should have a timetable. You should have clear cut decisions on what you will be doing on each day, each week, each weekend, and how you will be planning your day, what all things are left to do, what are things are needed to do. So priority is there. How you need to go about, which are the weak areas, you need to understand that. So all that you will need to understand. So when you have a timetable, it is easy, right? if you have it in mind, it is not that easy. So don't have a timetable in your mind. So many of my friends used to do this. They used to have a timetable in their mind, that yes, on Wednesday I'll do this, I'll do that, I'll do this. So please don't do that. Whichever timetable you have to have it on paper. So when you have it on paper, it gives a legitimacy to it. So whenever you look at the timetable, and if you are not able to complete it, you will feel ashamed about yourself. So it works in a motivating way. So it helps you to focus more. So you should have a timetable on paper. When you have a timetable on paper, it will be easier to just stick to that timetable. So that's how you build the consistency. So you don't need motivation every day, that yes, I have to become IAS today, and then the next day you wake up, I have to become IAS. So that motivation, that is not going to last. What will last? Your timetable. Looking at your timetable is going to last. That yes, I have to complete history today in the morning, then yes, I have to complete polity in the evening, and then I have to look through the previous year questions. So this kind of motivation is going to last, and this will also help you to relieve your overthinking and all. So you will not overthink, because the timetable is already there, and you know it in your mind that you have to follow this, and you will be clearing the exam. So otherwise, the other motivation is also good, that I'll become an IAS, I'll become an IAS, or I'll become a civil servant. As such, you can have that, but it will only last for so long. I think more than that, the having a set timetable will help you to avoid overthinking. Now, about my journey, one more thing is, as I said earlier, it was my third attempt, and I had already signs of, I had already exhibited signs of giving up. When I was in my third attempt, I had already said that this is not going to happen. I don't know what is going to happen in prelims. Even in prelims, I would say, in the last 15 minutes, I saw that I had skipped one whole paper. I had not seen the questions. So I got scared at that moment too, that how am I going to clear the prelims? I didn't see these five questions, now I'm seeing this. So that was very disappointing, but I managed to overcome it, because I had an idea or a thing in the back of my mind, that if I'm not completing this paper, if I'm not attending these five papers, then anyway I'll be crying. Even if I'm skipping this, or even if I'm getting it wrong, I'll be crying. So it will be better that I attend this, and then maybe I can have a hope, that, or a probability, that maybe some of them will be right. So if some of them are right, then it is in my favor. So this kind of positive thinking helped me a lot during this journey. And also my support system was of my parents and my very close friends. So it was very helpful to have them around. So for many people, they will be also preparing away from home. For them it would be very tough, but for me, I was preparing from my home itself. And there was also an opinion that one should not prepare from home, because then you have too many distractions, and you are feeling very comfortable in the presence of your home and all. But for me it was different. For me, my home was a place where I was very comfortable studying. And also with respect to accommodation, you don't have to worry. Food, you don't have to worry, and you don't have to worry about anything else. So that was there. And the atmosphere was also very calm. My parents never used to disturb me, or interfere with my study hours and all. And not even the other activities which you have related to family gatherings and all, they were not of disturbance to me. So for me, my home was a perfect place for me to study. That's why I chose here. And yes, support system, as I mentioned. So for those who are studying away from their home, I would say it would be good if you have friends or peers who are studying with you. So see, the importance is that whenever you are scoring low marks in your exam, so suppose you have scored 70 marks in your prelims, and your target was 80 or 90. So if you have a peer, or if you have a friend, then you would be sharing it with your friend. And if by chance your friend also scores somewhere near to 70 or 75, then you will be calm, or you will be comfortable that okay, so someone is there with me, right, fine, we are all in the same boat, so you'll be feeling comfortable about it, that not everyone is ahead, or I'm not able to live up to the expectations or not. So you will be able to comfort each other very well, you will be able to understand each other's problems very well, and also motivate each other. So that is important. So that is how support system works, and it is also important because there are a lot of things, a lot of thoughts which creep around at this time, a lot of adverse thoughts. So if you interact with your friends, peers, or anyone else that you trust, it's very important to build that confidence. So it will help in overthinking, avoiding overthinking, and maintaining a calm mind. Okay. So that was mostly about the journey. Now, yes, with respect to interview, I would say interview preparation was mostly based on my DAF. From the detailed application form itself, I used to revise and take out questions from each and every point which was there in my DAF. And what another thing that helped me was peer discussion groups. So we had these online discussion groups. Where we used to take up a topic on one day, and then we used to discuss on it, the consequences, the pros, the cons, and sensitive questions. What if they ask a question like this? What if they ask a very controversial question? How will you answer that? So all this we used to discuss. The rest, the communication was not much of a task for me. I've been in public speaking background, I have a public speaking background, so it was not a task for me. So peer discussion and mock interviews wherever it was available, and one-on-one sessions wherever it was available. So in interview stage, mostly we have free courses given out by institutes. So as part of that, I attended a lot of institutes courses and sessions. So that helped me to talk to different people. So when you talk to different people, you'll be able to get an idea of how different boards might react, or how different people might react to your answers. So in a way, what you can do is you can already have answers for the questions that you have created, and you can test it on different people. So you can see, like, I wouldn't be reacting in a same way for an answer like how other person would be reacting. So you can test your answers for different people. So that's a good way. Other than that, interview is mostly about how you remain on that day. And I think book lists I have done. um, which government websites would be useful? I would say PIB is a very useful website, but it is also not possible to refer to PIB every time. Sometimes you might forget, or sometimes it gets boring. So whenever you refer to current affairs, or whenever you want to look up any topic related to the governance and policy issues, or anything related to India or something, you could always type it and add PIB to it. So that will help you to source data from official websites. Okay, so for example, you are studying agriculture, right? So you want to know about rice production data. So you can write rice production and PIB. So when you write that, you will get official data. So why official data is important is, in current affairs compilations, anyhow you are going to get this data, but you never know from where they have sourced this data. But if you're getting it from PIB, then you have a authentic source for it. And also know this, the person who is going to create this paper will also be referring to official sources. Okay, so he or she is not familiar with a current affair compilation. What they will be familiar is with PIB and all. So PIB is a useful website that you could refer. And how to prepare for current affairs? In general, for current affairs, I would say the best method is to read newspaper every day. But I also understand, and since I was also one of them, it's very hard to read a newspaper, it's very hard to keep it consistent too. But the best way is to read a newspaper. Then you won't be able, uh, you know then it will help to avoid this clutter that you will face when it's the last minute. Okay, so usually what happens is, aspirants will not read the newspaper and they'll go for current affair compilation, and you have to read these 200, 300, 500 pages of compilations. It becomes very hectic, and also it is very difficult to remember all the information in the current affairs. So if you are someone who is starting your journey now, then it would be very better to go for a newspaper. Now, why newspaper is, whenever you read a topic on one day, the topic is going to come in continuation the next day. So, and this will last for few days until the topic has lost its news factor or impact factor and all. But for those 7 days, you will be able to revisit the topic again and again. So when that cycle happens over an year, it automatically gets framed into your brain. So you won't, so whenever, if even if you are referring to a current affairs compilation, you won't be able to, you will not have that kind of stress which an aspirant for the first time is looking at the current affairs. So newspapers will build a clarity, and also it will help you in interview stages and main stages also. So in mains, how it helps is, you can add some value addition from the newspaper. Like if there is something related to ethics, ethics in the sense that, how is this administrator doing the job, or how, what happened here, or corruption charges are there, so how did this happen. So all this you could note it, you could note it in a separate notebook. You could make it for ethics, you could make it for internal security. You can have examples quoted. See, all these examples, they won't be available in a mains compilations, but they will be available in your personal notebook. So it is important that if you are reading newspaper consistently, then you should be able to quote these examples. See, otherwise also, even if you have not done it consistently, then you would have to depend on mains compilations, and mains compilations or prelims compilations, they do have sufficient content in them. But then having some value addition from newspaper is going to help. But even if you are not able to cover current affairs from newspaper, you could go for prelims compilations or mains compilations. For prelims, I would suggest any reputed institutes current affair compilation would be enough. Like 1 year compilations are available, so that you could refer. But when you refer the current affairs, have some importance. So for science and tech, you have to look at it extensively. For environment, you can look at it extensively. For IR, places in news, international organizations, you can have a very thorough understanding of the current affairs. And so the weightage decreases. Okay, so for polity, the important things that you will be needing is some legislations that are there, some new body has been created, so only those current affairs are relevant. And for geography, you will need any kind of a cyclone or anything related to your static portions, that you will be needing. For history, current affairs are not much of an importance, but if any inaugurations are done, or any statue is there, or for example, if it was Kumbh Mela previous year, then you need to know about Kumbh Mela. So history and all you will need to know. So there is a weightage decreasing how current affairs needs to be done. So for science and tech, it is important. For environment, it is important. For IR, it is important that you do a thorough reading of it. But for the rest of the subjects, you can go a little bit low. And also for economics, it is important. So it is imperative that you link the static syllabus along with it. So when you are completely thorough with the static, you will be able to know which current affair is more important, which you can skip. Okay, so that is how you should go for current affairs. Now for preparation, online or offline, I would say both kind of preparations are okay. provided you are committed to it. Okay, so even in my initial years I used to do online preparation, but I could not commit myself more to it because I had just passed out from my course, and I was juggling both the things, so I could not do completely. I'm always someone who prefers offline coaching or offline classes than online classes. But if you have restrictions of time, if you have restrictions of transport and all, you could anyway go for online coaching also. Whichever coaching you choose, 70% of the effort, 80% of the effort should be from your side. So make sure that you give your 75 or 80%. The coaching can only do so much, so it doesn't matter which coaching or what mode of coaching you are choosing. Then let me take some questions from here. Okay. Yes. Supreme Court judgments, they are also very important. Along with legislation, Supreme Court judgments are also important for polity current affairs. And okay. Yes, I have not discussed about CSAT, I think. Okay, for CSAT, CSAT is a very important paper. It's a make or break paper, and many of us might fail to qualify it even if we have a very solid background in maths. So, CSAT cannot be taken lightly. So, for CSAT, what I used to do was I already had a base in maths. So, basic maths I knew, but it is very important that you know the maths of UPSC, or you know the questions of the UPSC CSAT. So for that, what you have to depend is the single most source. Take all the papers of CSAT previous year questions and start solving, because what I have observed is that there is a repetition of the questions. Yeah, and the most important in maths is number systems. So make sure that before you do CSAT number system, you are thorough with this portion, number system. Because recently I have observed a trend that they are asking more questions from number systems than from the other portions. So earlier they used to ask from work time and percentages, and there used to be a lot of questions from this. But now they have shifted it to purely number system. So for those who don't have a base in number system, it would be very tough. I think still you have time. It's a very easy chapter. Once you understand the concept, then you start solving questions. It's very easy to learn. And yes, for reading comprehension you cannot take it lightly, because first of all the passages will be confusing, and the second is that the questions will be confusing. So sometimes they ask assumptions, and we might not know what they have assumed. What we assume is not the answer, what they have assumed. So all these confusions will be there. So you need to understand the terminologies. Like, there is a certain terminology called crux, then there is inference, then there is logical understanding, then corollary, and then we have assumptions. Which of the assumptions are valid, or which is the statement which this particular author will agree to. So all these things are there. So for to understand that, you will have to solve the questions. So when you solve the questions, you will, again, as I said earlier, in the case of prelims, you will know the answer, or you will know the question framing of UPSC. And then when you are there in the final stage of your exam, then you will understand that you are getting confused between two options. But since you have an experience of solving CSAT earlier, and since you have already seen the key of the CSAT, you know what is the answer. So for reading comprehension, you can increase the accuracy in this manner. Don't take reading comprehension lightly. You will have to practice a lot of passages before you are doing it. And the same way with maths and reasoning. This is not an SSC kind of maths or reasoning where you can get away. Each of it costs positive and negative marks, so you will be need to be particularly careful about the kind of questions they are asking. Because in SSC usually we have straightforward questions, just the question and the answer. But in UPSC sometimes the answer will be in the format of, it will be answer can be obtained with statement 1, answer can be obtained with statement 1 and 2. So these type of questions will be there. So for this you will have to practice previous year CSAT questions to understand that. So for CSAT, there is there is the only one and sole technique is to solve all these previous year questions. Okay. So depend purely on the previous year questions. For practice you may go for institute questions or for increasing your speed. Okay. um, how to manage current affairs with static. So see, one needs to understand that whatever you are studying, your static is the most important portion than your current affairs. Now from static only they are going to base the current affairs from it. So if you don't know the static, so static is like the foundation of a house. So if the foundation is not strong, then the house will not stand on it. So current affair is the house or the roof, and static is the solid foundation. So first you have to complete the static, and then from that static you have to understand the current affairs. Because once you know the static, you will know which all current affairs are important. Because there is very few cases of randomly asking questions, but most of the current affairs will be from the portions of the static itself. So that is how you have to manage, more give more weightage to static, and then from the static you have to do the current affairs. um, Yes, for PYQ, yes, as I said earlier, for CSAT, you have to have a PYQ practice and PYQ analysis. For that, you can take any book which is available in the market, like last 10 years PYQ, CSAT. I think for GS also, you can have that book, last 10 years PYQ for GS and all, that you can choose. Mm, then, let me see some different questions. Problem to remember everything. What should I do? Yes, there's always this problem of not remembering the portions that you have actually studied. So for that, what you could do is you could do active recall. So I am someone who used to get scared with active recall, because I used to think that what if I am not able to recollect this, then I'll lose my confidence. But you have to keep that feeling aside, and you have to do active recall. Like for example, if you are choosing a topic from polity, which is prime minister or president, for example, you have studied the president. Now you will go for the subheadings, like what are the powers. In powers you will have executive powers. So what did I study in executive powers? Which are the powers I remember? Which are the judicial powers I remember? Which are the other discretionary powers that I remember? So you have to revise it by recollecting it. Then you have to recollect what? How is the election of the president? You have to recollect it. How is the removal or impeachment of the president? You have to recollect it. Then you have to do what are the reasons for impeachment. So this is how you are going to revise, and this is how you are not going to forget about it. So you have to keep on recollecting it. Or another method that you could do is you could solve questions related to that topic. So if you have done president, then you can just search for president questions UPSC, and you can start solving them. Then you can find the areas which you are making a mistake. So for those areas you have to go back and revise again. So this is how you can help with recollecting the topics. Okay, about giving the attempt, I would usually recommend preparation time of about 1 year before you give an UPSC attempt. Because even if you are prepared for prelims from your, from your current preparation or from your graduation subject, you will be prepared a lot for the prelims. But for mains, you need an optional subject, and you need to prepare for the GS too. So for that you will have to take an year, and you will have to do some answer writing also in between. So for that I think give a preparation of 1 year and you can attempt the question. But if you are that confident that you have to do it in the final year, then you can start studying in the final year itself. You can have like 4 or 3 hours. There are many of my friends who have done that. So 4 or 3 hours you can keep it for UPSC preparation, and if you are consistent enough and if you are confident of it, then you can do. Also, you could analyze your performance with mock exams. Like when you are giving exams, are you scoring enough marks? So based on that you can take a decision. And even in the mock exams, I think prelims, most of you. Yes, last 27, right? Okay. So, prelims, most of you might be attending mock exams, and there might be times when you are getting very high marks. There might be people who are getting marks 70, 76, 60, 40, something. But it is important that whenever you take mock exam, you have to learn to analyze it in a way. Okay, it's not just about giving 50 marks. Okay, I have given 100 marks, I'll clear this exam. I have given 50, 60 marks, then I'll clear the exam. It's not about that. It's mostly it is also that how you are analyzing the questions. So when you analyze the questions, there is a particular way. That is, when you analyze the wrong questions, you have to group these questions. Which are those questions which I have read and I have made it wrong? Which are the questions which I could not have done wrong, or it is important that I should not have done wrong, or other people would have done right? Okay, the things which are coming from the areas which have already studied and you have already done wrong, that is a red flag. Okay, so those questions you need to correct. For example, as we discussed earlier, if you have studied president portion and there was a question on president in the mock exam and you have done mistake in that, then that you have to rectify. But otherwise all the other questions like you know importance of some island, or location of some island in the world, or some kind of an agreement which you have not even heard, if those questions are going wrong, then you can do nothing because it's not from the static. But the static portions, it's important that you correct these. Okay, and even in mock exam, only worry if you have done wrong these questions. Like if we take economics, if you have done a question wrong from monetary policy committee, then it is wrong. Okay, then you have to take that into account because it's a very important static portion. If in environment you are doing something wrong related to national parks, then you have to read it again. So these should be the wrong answers or incorrect questions which you should be concerned about, not about anything else. So this is how you should analyze your mock exams. So that is how you should do. um, and this should be this thing. And in last 27 days you should depend on completing your static in the sense not just reading static. Okay, it's about making yourself sure. So as I said earlier, if there is something on president, so impeachment process is there. You should be sure what is the majority which is required to impeach the president. If there in the exam hall you cannot afford to get confused between, is it simple majority, is it special majority? No. So in these last 27 days you should prepare to make yourself sure. Okay, so you should be sure that it is a special majority which is required, not a simple majority. So you have to study it as long as it is getting ingrained in your brain. Okay, it should be there in your brain as big headlines. There should be no scope for doubt or confusion. So last 27 days should be about avoiding doubts, avoiding confusion. Okay, that's how you should study the static portion. And in 27 last 27 days also this should be a strategy, and combine it with doing pyqs. You should do pyqs extensively because only then you'll be able to understand, and only then you'll be able to get in track with it. So in the final day, when you write just a day before your exam or the time when you go for the exam, you'll be familiar with this type of questions. So static and pyq, this should be your motto. And don't get disheartened if you don't get marks or your marks are lowered. Just get disheartened if you are making those questions wrong, which are from the starting and which are important and imperative to be corrected. So that you have to get disheartened, but otherwise it's okay. Because even I scored around 76 in my last a week before my prelims. I gave a mock and I scored 76. So that was disappointing. So but if I had stopped at that point, then I would not be here sitting in front of you. So that is important. Then yes, UPSC for 2027, I would say if you start from today or from 26 anytime in 26 June or May end, if you start, then it is sufficient. Provided that you are consistent enough, provided you are committed, provided you have a very good plan, and that will help you. And it also helps if you have a mentor, like anyone who has appeared for the exam, who has appeared for all the levels of the exam, especially for mains. If you have a mentor, it will help. Like for me, it helped a lot to have a mentor in mains. So they helped me to refine my answer writing. Even for optional I had a mentor, and also for GS I had a mentor. So they will help you to analyze your questions. So if you have a mentor and if you have a plan, if you are clear with whatever strategy you have, what books you have to read, what time you have, or how you are going to do it, then 1 year is more than enough to crack 2027. um, NCRT notes, I have already told that it's not necessary. um, yeah, and if you're prepared for 80%, it's okay. 80% is more than enough, but do check yourself with a mock exam. Okay, just do this open mock test. There are a lot of institutes are offering open mock tests, so you can check with those exams, and you can see where your level is. What should I do on days when I don't feel like studying? Okay, that's a very important question. When you don't feel like studying, what you do? I think what you should do is do everything else which you feel like on that day. Provided it is not a day when, provided not every day is like that. Okay. So if on one day you are feeling down or if you have no mood to study, do those things which you are feeling happy about, because it's very important to get our mind on track. It's very important to get a mind space. Therefore, do anything which you would like to do, but please don't make it a habit too. Please don't do it every other day. You should not feel like studying. One day you take a break, it's fine. You have to get back the next day. So you could do that when you don't feel like studying. And yes, I actually don't have a Telegram channel as of now. If I'm starting, I'd mention it to upload my notes. Yes, for BTech, BTech candidates are there, right? Okay, for engineering also there is this problem of optional. It's very tough and it's very rare that people select an optional from engineering background or from tech background, because it's again tough to study and also to reproduce in your exam. So if you are in your BTech or if you are in your engineering, what I would suggest is go for 2-3 hours of UPSC preparation just on the general subjects that we have on the humanities subject. And by this time you should be having familiarity with your optional. You should be having a familiarity with the syllabus and PYQs. You should be able to make a decision on it. Um, internal security, for internal security, usually there is a book. Standard books are prescribed, one or two, but I studied it mostly through answer writing. Answer writing, which I used to do in my mains preparation. A lot of answer writing. I used to write a lot of Uh, answer writing, and mostly my content I used to remember by writing the answers. Even in prelims, even in mains, I used to write a lot. Yes, and that comes to the part of note making, digitally or offline note making. So I was someone who used to prefer offline note making. One, it helps with this inhibition that you have. towards writing the exam. So a lot of time we want to save a lot of time by going for digital note making. That is good, it saves a lot of time, it helps you to update. But for me personally, I wanted to write it, because by writing two things happens: one, it gets directly feeded into my brain, and second, it helps to remove that inhibition from writing, especially when you're starting your mains prep, or when you're starting daily answer writing. So um you can do note making in by writing or by offline online, whichever method you prefer. Shivin sir's economy. Yes, Shivin sir's economy. Actually, I have not attended his economy class, the foundation class, but I have checked his videos on budget and economic survey, which has helped me a lot. The last year's budget and economic survey, there was a video, and I used to refer that. I had referred to it, and from that I had read it in my prelims. For prelims, I had referred it, and I got a question from those explanation in my mains, and it was only because I referred his video in the prelims part that I was able to do it in mains, because I had not studied that specific portion. For mains, I had not studied it, but I remembered it pictographically from his classes. His notes are very good. The way he explains each and every concepts, and the way he understands every minute things from the class, and the way he prepares his lessons, I have always found it very good. And apart from that, for economy, I think I have also referred to Mrunal sir's economy classes, but that is mostly the ones which are available in YouTube. YouTube, the classes would be available, or sometimes you will not understand a particular concept, like for direct taxes you are not understanding, or for indirect taxes you are not understanding. So all those you could refer in the YouTube channel, you could type it. Yeah, for backup, yes, backup बैकअप रखना चाहिए बैकअप आई वुड से बैकअप इज़ वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट एंड इफ़ यू हैव बैकअप इट्स वेरी गुड अगर आपके पास बैकअप है तो इट्स वेल एंड गुड दैट यू हैव अ बैकअप तो इट प्रोवाइड्स यू अ सिक्योरिटी एक सिक्योरिटी मिल जाती है दैट अगर ये नहीं तो ये ही सही तो यू विल गेट अ सिक्योरिटी रिलेटेड टू दैट so it's important to have a backup and how many hours I have already answered? 6, 7 to 8 hours you could dedicate for this. And let me see if there is any other different questions related to it. Yes, to for Delhi and all, I would say it's not necessary. In my case, it was not at all necessary to go to Delhi for preparation. I had studied it from my home itself. For those who are comfortable by studying at their home, I think plenty of information is available in the internet, and a lot of online coaching and online material are available. So it's not actually necessary to go to Delhi. Even mock tests, these Delhi based institutes, they are able to conduct it even in your cities. I think nowadays they have expanded a lot, so mock tests also you'll be getting online also, you can be attending these tests. So as far as that is there, I don't think it is necessary to go to Delhi. You could study it with the comfort of your home, like I did. But it is also important that you are able to maintain that consistency. So that is important. And let me see some last 2 or 3 questions I can take. Which edition of Tamil Nadu board? I have no idea. I think I brought it from the one that I referred to was it from Amazon. It had a yellow binding in it. I don't know which edition it was, sorry. And current affairs, I think I have done. Um, GS Foundation was from an academy in Thiruvananthapuram. It's called Lead IS Academy. So that's where I did. And optional strategy, my optional was zoology, and I think I have already done. I'm already done explaining my optional strategy. You could check in this video. Um, is there any other questions? Two or three questions we can take, other than the ones which I've already asked. Yes, social media and distractions. I know social media and distractions are a lot these days. So, in my case, I had uninstalled Instagram because that was the most distracting app. So, that I had uninstalled, and the rest I had limited it. But I had not completely, stayed away from social media. So, it's important that you keep a check on how many time or how much time you're spending on it. So, 1 or 2 hours, it's fine. Otherwise, it takes away too much time. So if you're spending 7 to 8 hours, then it's more than enough on not on social media. 7 to 8 hours studying, if you're spending, then it's more than enough. Rest of the time you can see it. But I would say, stay away from social media, because for this time period, for this intense preparation, you would need to be staying away from it. Otherwise your mind will get distracted and you will be out of focus when you write the exams. uh, it's normal while getting confused when you are selecting an optional. What is important is your interest. Mainly, a highest weightage is to be given to your interest. How interested are you to write this? It should be that kind of interest where even if you are, अगर नींद से भी तुम्हें उठा ले, तो you are able to write that answer. So that should be the kind of interest that you should have. You should be very interested in writing those answers. So that is the first thing. The second is, of course, the marks. How well is your optional performing? For me, that was not there. I could only have the marks of one or two people who had appeared, and it was very disappointing as well, because most of them had scored 200, and I had scored 280 in my current attempt in zoology. So that was motivating for me, especially. So you should check the marks, and if you're selecting an optional apart from your college subject, then you should check who is giving the guidance, if you have the right guidance. So that should be there. So these are the criteria that you should do. And even if you are getting confused again, then you should refer to syllabus and previous year questions. When you look at the questions, you will be able to understand that if these questions are comfortable or not. Yes. Yes, about a mentor, I think there are a lot of academies which offer purely mentorship. So you could check that out just for mentorship, or you could always reach out to previous year toppers, and, Telegram channels are available. Or there are a lot of people who just offer mentorship. So you can contact with them. That's how you could have a mentor. And answer writing practice, I would say, if you are aiming for 2027, then it is always better to have a solid foundation than start answer writing. Because otherwise, also, you could write an answer, but it would not be a very good answer. So, if you want a certain level of standard in your answer writing, then you need to have a foundation. After that, you can start answer writing preparation. And mental health, yes. I think I would wind up by saying on concentration, mental health, and distraction. It's very important that you take care of your mental health in this phase of your exam, because since this was also my third attempt, I have seen a lot of failures in this. Not only in UPSC, every other exam that I used to give, I used to reach up to the final stage and not be there in the final list. Or even in prelims, I used to go out. Like in SSC, I used to give a lot of exams. State PSC, I have given a lot of exams, but finally what clicked for me was UPSC. So mental health is very important in these stages. Whenever you are not qualifying for an exam, you will feel very down, and you will feel like you don't deserve this, or you are not able enough to get into this. So all that time you have to have a mental sorry support system. which is my family was my support system, my friends were my support system. Apart from that, you could also, read books apart from the usual books. So for me, Ikigai is a book that I used to read, and that used to brighten me up very easily. So for Ikigai, what I used to do was, I used to take that book, just sit somewhere whenever I'm getting overwhelmed, and then I used to open a random page, and I used to read it as I am getting a message from it. So this helps sometimes. Sometimes reading or sometimes doing your hobby helps, like just get out, get some fresh air, and come back after you're doing your hobby, or take some break for few days. That will help. And it's very important that you have a stoic kind of nature, in the sense that your failures should not affect you that much, and your winnings or your triumphs should also not be able to, get you above. Like sometimes when you win too much, or when you're scoring very high marks in your exams, you'll tend to, study a little bit lazier. So that is also a problem. And also, if you are getting too much failures, you will also leave that study. So don't get overwhelmed in both the cases. Just have a balanced preparation, just do whatever is required of you to do, and that would help you in this journey. And be very confident about your preparation. If you have done whatever every other topper has said, or whatever is required of you in this exam, the static, the basic portions, if it's solid, if your foundation is solid, then you will be able to get through. And with respect to tricks also, the tricks are only going to work if your foundation is solid. So for prelims, mains, interview, everything, your foundation has to be solid. And for that, you will have to dedicate a lot of amount of time for your foundation. Only then your current affairs will be solid, and only then you can apply tricks, and only then everything else is going to work. So make sure that in this coming 27, 26 days, you are able to build a strong foundation, analyze your pyqs, continuously analyze your pyqs. And please don't, now is not the time to be lazy. So make sure every minute is being counted, every minute you are making it count. So at least for 27 days, if you are doing this, then it will be easier for you. And yes, these books, they also help in essay writing. They help to develop perspective. So in essay, I had scored 120 marks around, which is very good marks in essay. So for essay, it's mostly about perspective. So to write a good essay, you will need to spend some time with yourself, analyzing the topic, remembering the areas which the topic could cover, all the dimensions which could be. So if you are given a topic related to failure, then that should not just be about an exam failure. It should also be about a sports, or it should also be about something related to wildlife, or it should be something related to the economy, and all those areas which, all those areas which anyone else would not think about. So all these areas you will have to cover. So this is how essay writing would help. So that's all. I would be winding up. In the end, I would just want to say all the best to all of you who are giving your exams. Just make sure that your foundation is strong, and that you have done all the PYQs. Please don't waste any more time. We don't have any more time to waste now. It's almost the end game. We are in the end game now. So don't waste any time. Don't waste a minute. Make everything count. Give it your all. Okay, so that when you enter the hall on 24th of May, there should not be any guilty feeling that I have not prepared well. Even after you complete your exam, you should be able to be, proud of yourself, that I have given it my all, I have prepared it well, this is all that I could do. So for that, you will need to have a confidence, you will need to have prepared. And at the end of the day, that satisfaction is more important. So all the best to all of you. See you all. Thank you.